Hello, my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Man Cave. I've got quite a few things of interest for you today, but first I thought I'd start off with, talking about something I mentioned last week, and that is that when I set out on my stands for deer hunting, I typically see way more bucks, usually 4 or 5 bucks to every doe. Well, that was reversed on Saturday morning for a change. I just thought I'd mention that to you, that I sat out on my stand Saturday morning early, and I think I saw about 6 deer, and only one of them I think was a buck, and I'm not even sure it was a buck 100%. So that's kind of different for me here on the farm, but I just thought I'd mention that for those of you who think we've shot all the doe. We haven't. We just don't see that many here for some reason. The boys arrived Saturday afternoon, and they've spent the weekend, and they got to stay. Their parents went back this morning to Ohio, but Trini and Leighton are here. And in fact, they're slightly featured in one of these videos I'll be showing you here in just a minute. I took Trini, the older one, out on a deer stand. I guess it was Sunday morning early. I guess that's when it was. Anyway, he wasn't having it. He just couldn't sit still, and finally he says, "Can we go back?" So anyway, he went back early. I went up on a different deer stand after I took him back, and then I saw a couple of more deer Sunday morning, and those two, neither one of them I'm sure what they were. I just saw parts of them. I didn't see the whole deer. Let's see. We celebrated Thanksgiving Sunday evening. The whole family was here and had a great time. It was really, really, really nice to have everybody here. Rochelle, the middle daughter, our middle child, she's second oldest or second youngest, whichever way you want to look at it. She spent most of her day in the wood shop on Sunday in my workshop. She was making charcuterie boards and various and sundry other little wooden knick-knack things. Did you all see and hear that Itchy Boots got her documents back? Oh my gosh. You know that would happen to you or I, don't you? You know, like if we were over in some foreign country where nobody speaks English for the most part, and we lost our documents, you would get reunited with them, especially after you've traveled about 100 miles away. But I thought that was pretty unique, really, that they got her documents back to her. I just don't think that would happen to me. I just don't think that would happen. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. She just seems to always come out smelling like a rose, no matter what the situation is. I did finally put the link in the video today to the fellow in Sweden. If you like to see people do things in a different way, now the link, the one I put the video out that I thought would most appeal to the widest audience. The video link that I put in there is the one where he's doing all the different jobs at the airport. Now, that's only one video. He's got tons of videos out, and most of his videos are on, building things, repairing things, digging wells. I mean, just about anything and everything you can imagine. He made a firewood processor from scratch. He made his own gravel crushing plant, and he's just a wide variety of stuff. Exactly right up my alley. So I've been really enjoying watching him. I've been kind of binge watching his videos whenever I get a chance. And he's got a lot of videos out there. I can't say the name, but the first initial is M, and then it's Bioernstrom. So I would say Bjornstrom, something like that. That's my best guess. But like I said, he's in Sweden. Oddly enough, on a video I just watched today, he went to Finland to get tires for his truck. It didn't appear like there was any deal to crossing the border to Finland either. It seemed like he just drove over there and got tires and came back. It didn't seem like he had to go through any kind of a checkpoint or anything. So I thought that was pretty cool. All right, well, let's see. Here's the first of 3 little short video clips that I have for you today.
Well, my friends, I've decided to start yet another project. That's what I needed to do, isn't it? Start another project. I cut this out of a stump of walnut, those big trees that were in our front yard we had removed a couple years ago. Those of you who've been watching a while know about that. Anyway, I took those stumps, cut them into 2-inch thick slabs, and then I just sawed the rough profile out for this gun stock. This is a Ruger 308, Ruger American 308 actually. And so what I'm going to try to do is make a stock that will match that. Now, I didn't really think about it, but this trigger guard's actually built into this plastic. I thought it was separate, but it's not. So I'll have to figure out a trigger guard. I may have to make a custom one or something, but that's okay. I can do that. And yeah, I'm at a point now where I need to figure out how to machine these holes, and I want to do all the machining that I can while I've got the stock square and straight. This is, you know, parallel and straight and everything. And so I want to try to mill out all of this stuff while the stock is like this. Carving the stock like this is a piece of cake to me. Carving that is nothing. But milling out all these pockets and getting everything to line up perfectly, that's where the toughness is for me. We'll see how it goes.
So now, if I don't go to YouTube jail for showing that, I don't think I will for just showing the stock. I don't think so. But you never know. So if you don't see me tomorrow, you know I'm back in jail. Anyway, you can see the figure in that wood. It's pretty figured. It's going to be a really pretty gun stock if I can pull it off and make it work out for that. I mean, I actually like the gun stock that's on it. But it's plastic and nylon, you know, and I'm just not big into that. I like the shape and feel of it, though. It feels really good, and it's just the right size. Everything about it is perfect on that. So I'm going to try to copy it as close as I can, but make it out of that walnut. And again, that's those trees that we took out right here in the front yard. And actually, I didn't take those out. Those are the only trees I've ever hired anybody to come take down. They were so huge, and they were right against the house. If I would have had a man lift or something, I probably would have taken them down myself. But because I'm not going to climb those trees, the professional fellows that came out, they did climb the trees and take them down limb by limb, and they kind of needed to in the spot that they were in. So anyway, that wood turned out to be really pretty. I've got quite a bit of it. That's also the trees that I hit a rock that was growed inside the tree. It's pretty bad. It ruined one of my saw blades on my sawmill. Okay, that's video number 1. Here's random video number 2.
Well, the old meat grinder came in today, the brand new meat grinder. This one's the number 22 version. It's a 1 horsepower, says for heavy use. So this one's supposed to be the cat's meow. It's got all the bells and whistles, supposedly. We'll find out. So I guess this is the cat's meow the way it looks. It really seems like a very heavy duty outfit. This piece right here is super heavy. Just picking that up and putting it on there is more than you would imagine. The whole thing seems to be really, really well made. Holds a lot of meat up here. And came with these accessories. And of course a book. And then just information about what those accessories are, I guess. So don't know a thing about it other than that. I just know it has a super good rating. I would imagine this will do everything we ever want to do, and then maybe more than that. So looks like there's the switch back here. Don't know a thing about it, but it looks like it ought to handle our chore.
In fact, I'm actually thinking about going out and get another doe. I mean, I have several tags. I could shoot a bunch of them if I wanted to. The conservation is trying to reduce the numbers. Because the deer population is crazy high. And like I said, if you drive right now between here and Rolla, I guarantee you'll see at least a half dozen deer that are dead on the highway. There's just too many deer. But now, I also just want to say this for what it's worth. I mean, I know some of you that are familiar with hunting and that kind of thing already know this, but these deer here are wild. These are wild deer. They're not at all like the deer you see around in subdivisions and things like that that'll just kind of look up at you as you walk by. That's not what these deer are. These deer see you, smell you, hear you, they're out of there. And I mean like out of there right now. I just thought I'd mention that because I think a lot of people, they only know what they know, and they see all these deer around, eating out of yards, and you think, well, anybody could shoot one of those. Well, that's true in certain places. That is true. Not here. In fact, here, they're so skittish, it's unbelievable. I mean, if they just get a whiff of a person, they can be 100 yards away. They'll start blowing, and blowing is, they make this sound. I'll try not to blow directly into the mic. They go, they make that kind of a sound, and they just keep doing it because they don't know what you are. Maybe they smell you, they hear you, they saw some movement or something. That's what they start doing. And anyway, they're really, really, really wild deer here. It's completely different than what you might be familiar with. Let's see. Here is the main video for the morning. This is, it's just utter destruction.
Pick up this one on the end down here. Did you get it yet? Pick it up right there on the end. Did you get it? Did you get this one? Go forward. Go forward. Now back up, turn this way as you're backing up. No. Yeah, now back up. All right, just push it over. Push it. Hey. Lift. Get your bucket about right here. Get your bucket about right there. All right. Come in from this corner and push this way. Lift it up a little bit. Now, go ahead. Watch it, watch it, watch it. That can spring back and hit you in the face. Tip your bucket, yeah, like that. Now hit it. Watch it, don't go too far. Come up here and hit this corner. Get a little higher. Do the same thing and just go a little higher. A little higher. Now, point the bucket down a little bit. Hold it. That's enough. Come over here. Push this way. Get out of there, Tucker.
Tucker, get out of
there. Nope. Hey, tip your bucket down a little bit. No, tip. Tip it. Yeah, now push. That's a little too much. Not quite that much. There, now. Try not to hit the concrete. Stay on the... What? Wait. This board can swing back and hit you. Be careful. Try it again. Yeah, lift it up now. Lift it up. Now push it. All right, back up. Try pushing on that corner. Push. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, push on this. That's good enough. Put it away, I guess.
And for the record, I'm positive I could have done that in about 1/2 that time or less with that same machine, but he wouldn't learn anything if I did it. So I let him, get the experience there and mess with it. And he's got a feeling of accomplishment now that he was able to tear that building down. But anyway, or we could have used the big skid steer and it would have just drove right over it. It wouldn't even knew it was there. It would have just drove right over the top of it. The big skid steer's about, I would say, 8 to 10 times more powerful than that little sucker. But that little sucker will surprise you. It does actually have some real power to it. It's all in how you learn how to use it. Hitting things from the right angle and stuff. And of course, Trinian, he's got no experience at all, but he had fun doing that. And I encourage more people to give kids more experiences like that, because that's how you learn. Let's see. One other thing I did over the weekend is I patched a vinyl seat on my Ranger, on my Polaris Ranger. I may put a video out on that later. If not, I'll at least show it to you in a future vlog. But I did film it. I bought one of these little vinyl repair kits, and it was worth buying that. But in the future, if I ever have to repair vinyl again, and especially if it's black, I'll just get the black vinyl tape, or that liquid tape that you can buy for like electrical wires. You wrap them with, it's the same stuff. I'm just 99% sure it's exactly the same stuff. Looks the same, feels the same, sounds, smells the same, everything. So I really think that's all you would need is you just take like if you had a tear in your vinyl seat or something, you just put some backing cloth on the inside of it, like some, the looser the weave, the better, like a cotton backing with a, not a super tight weave, but just a little looser weave. And then if you have any loose vinyl, you just trim it, like if you have any parts that are just sticking out loose, weird like, trim it off smooth, put the backing in underneath the vinyl, and then just smear that, liquid tape. Or if you wanted to go ahead and get the kit, just use the liquid that comes in this. Now, this comes with so many different tubes of the liquid vinyl that you can blend it to almost any color. Where in my case, I was just doing black, and it worked pretty well. I'm pretty pleased with the results. I'm sure I could do it better. As typical, the one that I'm doing, it was on a corner, and trying to blend a corner is pretty tough because that vinyl's wrapped around there and it's stretched tighter and everything right there. Had it been in the middle, I think you could do it without hardly even noticing it. But anyway, I did that, and I may show a video on that down the road. Let's see. Let's go to the comments. Ronald Todd was the first one in, it looks like. Says, good afternoon, Jerry and everyone from the West Banks of New Jersey. David Tharp says, some women actually turn into good drivers, so if you're a good driver, watch out for turning women. I am not going there. I'm not going there. I only read it. I didn't say I believed any of that. Let's see. Kim Z from Arizona there says, hello from sunny Arizona. Our 3 days of cloudy rain are over. Well, we were supposed to get a lot of rain today, and not so much. Did I don't remember if I actually told you this, or I had thought I was going to tell you this, and I don't think I ever did. But, I mentioned before that we've had a really wet spring and summer, and in the summer up through June for sure, and part of July, we had the most rain we ever had in a summer. But since then, it's been about as dry as it could be. And some of the really big springs around here have completely dried up. There's a spring that's just over the hill from us. It's called Yelton Spring. In fact, our closest neighbor other than JR is Mr. Yelton, or was. He just recently passed away at about 103, I think he was, 103 years old. And he just recently passed away. But anyway, not far from where he lived, there was a big, his family's been in this area forever, and it's a really big spring called Yelton Springs, and I would say it's 8 or 10 feet across, and water's just boiling out of there. I mean, a lot of water. Not now. It's completely dry. It's not got any water coming out of it. Now, ironically, our little springs here on the farm, the one that turns the water wheel and all that, they're still trickling. They're not. They have not died yet. But that's one big spring that's dry, and there are others. The Kitchell Spring that's in the valley above us, it's completely dry, and it's actually a bigger spring when it's flowing than our springs are here on the farm too. None of our springs are very big, but fortunately they're, I guess, pretty hardy. They at least keep going. So anyway, I just thought I'd mention that it's just really, really been very, very dry. And, we were supposed to get rain today, but, we got like a sprinkle again. We just keep getting sprinkles. That's all we get. It's just enough to dampen the ground. The ground isn't exactly dried out, but if you dig down 3 inches, it's really dry. Let's see. Gino Hitch says, "Hi, Jerry and friends. What is the status?" Wait a minute. I skipped one. Sorry. David Tharp says, "One thing I'm definitely thankful and grateful for is that the Pilgrims didn't eat liver and onions for their Thanksgiving meal." Ugh. Let's see. Gino Hitch says, "Hi, Jerry and friends. What is the status of the dump truck, and are you ready for the coming bad weather?" Well, the status of the dump truck is I did fix the starter. I got that reinstalled. The starter is completely fixed. Got that installed. I'm still waiting on the new water pump. And then, of course, I still need to work on the idle to make sure that the thing's going to idle okay. But I'm waiting on the water pump. I thought that would be here by now, but it is not here yet. But I think it's going to be okay. And in terms of the bad weather, I guess I'm always ready for it. It's always coming. Wayne Blitz, good afternoon, Jerry. Hope all is well with everyone, and my hands are feeling you. Yeah, I get it. The hands thing is not good. Let's see, moving on down. Looking mainly for the question marks. Bill Webb says, good afternoon. And then Mike Saba says, Jerry, if you have an arch-top guitar with F-holes and it has a loose brace, do you have to take the back off to fix it? The answer is most likely, yeah, but not necessarily. It just depends how loose it is. If it's fallen completely out, you'd probably be way better off if you did take the back off to fix it. Could it be done without that? Probably, but you'd be jumping through a lot of hoops. Of course, you're jumping through a lot of hoops when you take the back off of an instrument. It doesn't matter. I mean, that's not easy to do. It's not simple. And if it's an old Gibson, good luck getting the back on it, and because those sides will spring out. I mean, and I don't mean to pick on Gibson, but they're definitely known for that, and a lot of the other instruments will do that too, but Gibson's especially. I would say you most likely are going to have to take back off if it's really, really loose. If it's just loose on one end or something, well, you can probably get it done without taking the back off. Michael 2X, get ready for the Turkey Bowl, Rosenmeister. Well, we already kind of had our Turkey Bowl over the weekend, although we didn't really play football this year. We watched the football game a little bit on TV with the Chiefs playing can't think of who it was now. Was it Denver? I don't know who it was they were playing. I can't think now. But anyway, they were way behind until the very last quarter, really, and then they came back and seemed like almost accidentally won it. It's kind of crazy. Let's see. Don Matthews, Itchy Boots got her good luck continued. Yeah, I just find that, especially in a country like that, where it's, how do you get a hold of people? They don't, getting a car is tough there. They don't have phone service worth a hoot. How does that happen? I'm just sure it would happen to you and me. If we lost our documents, our most important documents while we're there, I'm just sure they would get back to us. Yeah, right. Not even a chance. Let's see. Moving on down. Simon Jardine's got a long one there. Doesn't have any question marks, but he says, came across this online. Wooden house builders used to steep logs and timbers in diesel. It repelled wood-boring insects and preserved the timber. Never heard that before. What's your opinion? Okay, well, my opinion on that is that there's some truth to it. I've never heard of using diesel fuel. I've heard of using, like old used motor oil and things like that, creosote, of course. But I'll give you an inside tip. I built a garage. I think I've told about this before. I built a 3-car garage onto my house when I lived in Wildwood. And the inspector was such a pain in the neck. I built the whole thing on the ground, stood it all up in one weekend. And it was already locked up by the time he came and got on my case. Anyway, years later, the termites got in there and just chewed it up on one wall. And so I had to tear out a lot of the inner walls and rebuild a lot of it. And I was telling that to my dad, and I was going to, at that time, I just didn't have any money. That was just the truth of it. I didn't have enough money to pay somebody to come out and spray for termites. My dad says, you don't have to spray for termites, just pour motor oil around that. And I thought, really? He goes, yeah, just dig yourself a trench real close to the foundation, like where it's like just a little V trench, like this is your foundation and your little V trench comes out like this. It doesn't have to be very big. And you just kind of fill that trench full of motor oil. Now, I know some of you are cringing and just thinking that that's just ruined the whole environment for the whole United States and everything. But, you got tar, pasted on your side of your, on your foundation anyway. I mean, like pouring motor oil in a tight spot like that, it's not going to hurt anything. So anyway, that's what I did. Didn't have any more trouble with termites. So there you go. There's your cheap way to fix your termite problem if you have termites. But yeah, it's oil like that can preserve the wood too. A lot of people will dip posts in oil before they put them in the ground, that kind of thing. Let's see. David Tharp says Kyle is, I think he meant kale maybe, probably the talking into the phone thing, is a very versatile vegetable. It can literally fit into any garbage can. I like to just throw it in the compost pile myself. Don't want to waste it, after you took all the time to grow it. You want to put it someplace useful, and the compost pile is the most useful place I can think of. David Tharp says, thumbs up, y'all. Yeah, if you would do that, that does help. Ronald Todd says, the chatoyance in the walnut stock is spectacular. That will turn out to be a piece of art beautifully. Yeah, I really think it's going to be very, very, very pretty. And I just will like it a lot better if I have a wood stock on it. I mean, I like it. That's a good gun. I really like it. It shoots really accurately. I can just put one hole right after another in the same spot, But I just think I would like it that much better if it had a wooden stock, and, you know, whoever gets it down the road will probably like it better too because it's got a wooden stock. So there you go. I'm going to also try, at least I'm talking big right now. I may not do this at all, but I'm going to at least consider doing checkering on the stock. Like, the high-end guns have that hand checkering on there. I'm thinking about doing that. I don't know if I'll get that done or not, but I'm going to try. Let's see. David Thorpe says, making some deer jerky from about 7 pounds of ground venison. Cool. Let's see. Theron Corbett says, install bedding blocks in the stock, glass bed, and action and free float the barrel to achieve the maximum accuracy. I will definitely free float the barrel for sure. I don't know about the rest of that, but I'll definitely free float the barrel. I always do that when I make a stock. I've made quite a few stocks over the years. Don't consider myself an expert in it. I just, somehow or another, it's always worked out, and I'm hoping this one will work out. This one's a complicated one, though. There's a lot of cutouts and a lot of activity going on in this stock. I guess that's when you mold them out of plastic, you can mold all that into them real easy, Not so easy to carve all that into them, though. Coincidentally, this is Ronald Todd. I just got my Cabela's grinder out to make cranberry relish for Thanksgiving right after the vlog. Cool. LD Schultz says, whatever happened to the Labrador your son gave you? That would be Sadie, Labradoodle, I should say. She was a good dog. I liked her, and she was pretty smart. She was finding deer antler, but everybody hated her. I mean, including the boys, Sue, everybody. And she hurt several people, including David Thorpe that was here. I think she broke his watch and nipped him on the arm, both, and drew blood. She didn't do it mean-like. She wasn't being growling mean, that kind of thing. She just excited, and she couldn't keep her feet on the ground. She just way excitable. Probably the most excitable dog I've ever seen. And I could deal with her, but, a lot of people just couldn't, and so Sue just basically gave her to JR, and JR did something with her. I guess he gave her away. I don't really know. Let's see, what else? Empress John says, love your grandson on the skid steer. For some reason, this is not scrolling now. Oh, there it goes. I got it. It was just stuck. Wow, it went a long... Okay, golly, that scrolled a lot further than I thought. It was stuck. I couldn't get it to move, and now there's quite a few more comments. I thought we were out. So Empress John says, love your grandson on the skid steer. I have a 10-year-old grandson. Those boys all have the mindset of Cash. Hard-headed. Yep. Yeah, and Cash was really hard-headed at first. He's not so much with me now. He pretty much listens to anything I suggest, and he tries it, I think he's very appreciative. It'd be different but he shows appreciation for what I've done for him, and he really does. And I'm very pleased with what Cash has done and where he's taken it. Now my grandson here, the Trinian, he's probably one of the nicest minded kids I've ever met. I mean, it's not just because he's my grandson, but I mean he's been recognized many times at school by his teachers and the principals and different things for the kindness he shows to other kids. He's just a really kind-hearted kid. He just really is. He helps anybody that's handicapped, with doors and pushing them around in wheelchairs and things like that. He's just really kind-hearted. Now, the other boy that just saw standing in the background, a little different. He's just kind of opposite. He is definitely the wild one, Leighton. Oh my gosh. Leighton, he's the smallest guy in his football team, but he's by far the most active, and he gets more done than anybody else. Even the big guys he can run circles around him. He's just amazing. He's so active. It's just unbelievable. And so the whole time he was standing there, I know he was wanting to be on that skid steer, but yeah, you almost want to. If he was going to be on a skid steer, you'd kind of want to have it inside of a rubber room or something. Anyway, let's see. Skotsky 54 says, "I know learning experience." Yep, for sure. It is a real learning experience to do those kinds of things. Eric Sandell says there are no real checkpoints at the border between Haparanda in Sweden and Torino in Finland. Some official officers are working close together. Cool. Yeah, it didn't appear like he had to even slow down. He just went through and went on over, and just like I was going to Rolla, it was no big deal. Pretty cool. I don't know. I hope you guys will check out that guy in Sweden and check out his videos. I think they're just excellent. He kind of reminds me of me, to be honest with you. But I like to see that kind of work. I like to do that kind of work where you're making something one day and you're using something the next day, and the next day you're repairing something. I like that kind of variety. I don't like everything being the same every day. I'm just not that guy. David Thorpe, a 4-year-old asked Mom, "Why do adults post things children say on social media? Isn't it just inherently dishonest and indicative of an inability to construct a compelling narrative themselves?" Sadly, there's 4-year-olds that almost talk like that. It's crazy. There are kids around, and actually Leighton's kind of one of them. He's that young kid like that. He's always got a comeback. I don't care what you say. He's got a comeback. And he always has a different name for me every time he comes. This time it's Pops. He's never called me that before, but this time it's Pops. I don't know why, but that's everything he has to say Pops every time he looks at me. He says, "Hey Pops, what are you doing?" I don't know. That kid is something else. He really is. He is a wild one. Jennifer White Wolf says, "When you have family gathering, is there a bunch of music that happens? Any family musicians?" No, I'm pretty much it in the family, really. Emery, is also, but she doesn't do too much out in public for sure. There's Eric from, I think he's from Sweden, if I'm not mistaken. Eric Sandel says, "Between Finland and Sweden, you only need, for example, a driving license so you can present identity if asked for some reason." Oh, present identity. Yeah, a driver's license. That's cool. That's really cool. Eddie Turner, "We lost our son." Oh, I am so sorry, Eddie. I'm just sorry. That's horrible. Praying for you, man. That's just terrible. David Sutter says, "Hey Jerry, you could take that great piece of wood to a stock copier. He'll also have your action, and then let that better than you ever could think about that one." Well, that's not showing very much confidence. I've made several stocks for other guns, and they've all fit. So I'm going to make this one somehow, or at least I think I'm going to. Sometimes I actually think I got lucky on some of those other ones because they fit perfect. Let's see, and like some of them had a cutout where like your safety actually was embedded kind of, or had a notch out in the stock, and I've even had, all kinds of little whoopties in those stocks. Let's see. Castrillo says, Jerry, tell YouTube that it's a new model of mandolin that he's designing fit in narrow spaces like gun racks. Yeah, there you go. Done nice. Jerry, a rose on the stock would be nice. Well, there's a possibility of something like that. You just never know. Bill Mumbo, David, that's one of your best. Jennifer says, Eddie, my deepest condolences. Yeah, it's just so sad, so horrible. Bill Mumbo, so sorry for your loss. Yep. And then more condolences from Paul Lanier. Castrillo says, lucky kids. I would have loved to get to learn how to do such cool things when I was that age. Learn by doing with an experienced coach. Yeah, and, that's it. That really is it. If you don't ever experience it. Now, I'm not picking on their father, Todd. I really like Todd. He's just a great guy. He's just the best. But he's never had these kinds of experiences. He is completely city raised. He doesn't hunt, fish, any of that kind of stuff. He plays football. I mean, he's very good and very noted, and written up in newspapers and everything. I mean, he was really good at football, but he doesn't have any experience about building things or working on anything or anything like that. Now, my daughter Rochelle, on the other hand, she's kind of grew up that way, and so she kind of does all the handyman work around their house. So, but having the boys here and giving them those experiences, I think are good. Doesn't mean you have to grow up and have to do that stuff, but at least you kind of know what's involved, and I think that's a good thing. G&P Old Marine Shop. Hi, Jerry. What's a good spacing for cleats inside a violin top face on a crack? Well, I really think it depends on the crack and a lot of different variables. I try to use as few as I can, and I try to keep them as small as I can keep them. And you do know that you always turn your cleat cross grain. In other words, if the grain is running this way, then you turn your cleat this way, and vice versa. So, and as few as you can get away with is the best example I can give you. Generally, you want one up near wherever it comes out to the opening. In other words, like if the crack is coming out to the opening of an F hole, you want a cleat fairly close to the F hole. If it's coming out to the end of the fiddle at the back maybe or something like that, then you'd want your cleat a little closer to that, I guess. But you typically want your cleat probably, well, let me rephrase it. If it's going out to the back or the sides themselves become the cleat, so you don't really have to worry about it too much there. But you may want one more in the middle there, but as few as you can get away with. That's the best way I can explain it. And it's just kind of an experience thing. But you do want one, if they're coming out to an F hole or something like that, you do want one fairly close to wherever the wood is going to be loose. I don't know if that made any sense at all, but that's what you try to do. Let's see here. Michael Forrest, he's the one from Sweden. He says, greetings from Sweden and many thanks for the advice about Grok. Very useful tool. Yeah, I'm telling you, I use it all the time. In fact, over the weekend, you guys remember that several companies sent me laser cutters. Well, the Glufy laser cutter, Gluphy, nice laser cutter. I gave it to my daughter, Rochelle, and she was having all kinds of trouble getting it to talk to her laptop. Well, when she brought it here, we kind of both figured out that actually we think the problem is mostly with the plug. The plug on the Glufy has a big plastic surround around it, and you can't get the plug to go in very deep, and it's kind of just barely in it. So anyway, I just took a Dremel tool and just opened that hole up and where I could plug it in deeper. Well, that gave us the first thing, but we still were having a few troubles, and I asked Grok about it, and Grok it's just like you have the user manual there. I mean, seriously, you don't even need a user manual or, a maintenance manual or anything if you've got Grok. It tells you everything. It comes right out of the manual, basically. It's amazing. Just amazing. If you're not using it, I really suggest you try it. Let's see. Skotsky 54. A rose on the stock and a mint on your pillow. Daddy Hillebrand. Sorry, Eddie. Yeah, it's so sad. Golly, that's sad. More condolences. Let's see. Yep. And moving on down. Let's see. GMP Old Marine Shop says almost a complete length separation. Trying to remember what that was about now. I don't know what we're talking about. Oh, on the cleat. Yeah, well, on something like that, then you will probably want to put. See, again, I'm really less of a cleat person than most people. For instance, if I had the top apart on the guitar, on the violin, and it was cracked the full length, I'd probably just glue the full length like I would normally glue the main seam between them, and I probably wouldn't cleat it at all. If you're using Titebond and you get good clamping and good glue coverage, it's not going to break. It's not going to need a cleat. I don't know. If you're using Titebond and if you get the crack together really good, you don't need many cleats. In fact, I would lean toward fewer rather than more. That's for sure. Especially with Titebond and you get it clamped really well. Now, if you're using hide glue, you better cleat the heck out of it. And that's just the truth. I mean, I'm not just saying that just to knock hide glue. I'm saying it because it's the truth. It just won't hold. It doesn't hold like Titebond holds. Empress John says, Jerry, admire you really taking time with your grandkids. It's an experience they will never forget. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Yep, and back to you. Thank you. And Michael Force says, totally agree with you, Jerry, regarding Grok. I just typed in a part number and problem solved. Yeah, it's amazing what's in that tool. I'm seriously telling you, you can't. I'm not saying that every single question I've asked it's given me a perfect answer, because there's been a couple that I'm going like, I don't know, that don't seem quite right, that kind of thing. But it's way better than nothing. I can tell you that. And it will get you on the right path almost every single time. So, you still have to use your own brain, even using Grok, but it takes you way farther faster than you'll get there on your own. Don Nice, a rose in the checker. Yeah, that's when you said that earlier, that's the first thing that I thought of was, boy, it would be kind of cool if I could get a rose to appear in that checkering. That would really be cool. Eddie Turner says, it's tough. I can imagine, Eddie. Golly, doggone it. That's horrible. It's just horrible. Let's see. Bill Rose says, see you tomorrow during. Well, guys, I think that's going to be it. Another one popped up. I did that and used cleats every 3 inches with Titebond. Yeah, well, I wouldn't go I wouldn't think you'll need any more than that. That's plenty. Cup of Cold Titebond is now making hide glue. You reckon it's any good? I wouldn't use it. That's all I can tell you. I just wouldn't use it. I would just use the regular Titebond. See, I can't figure out why people think they need to use hide glue. There's no need to use it. It doesn't do anything magical. It doesn't do anything that Titebond can't do, except that Titebond does it better. It holds it. It doesn't break. And the cool thing about Titebond is it's 100% consistent on taking it apart. Hide glue is not. See, they make hide glue out of anything and everything. I mean, like it could be a cowhide, it could be a horse hide, it could be a pig skin. It could be anything. They boil it down and they make hide glue out of it. And you don't get consistency out of that. You can believe you do, but you don't. I mean, if you work on as many instruments as I've worked on, you'll see very quickly that hide glue one time just falls apart on its own. The next time you got to take a jackhammer to it to get it apart. It's just that way. It's not consistent at all. Tight bond solves that problem. It's consistent, 100% consistent, and it will not turn loose until you put water to it and steam. So it's a no-brainer to me. I just don't even see why we even have the discussion. So there you go. That's just me. Empress John says, I actually asked Grok about Bible topic. I got tons of info. Very surprised. Cool. Skotsky 54, are you using free version of Grok? They keep trying to sell it to me. I haven't had any ads pop up or anything trying to sell it to me. So I've been using just the simple version I installed off the Play Store, and it's been perfect for me. GMPO Marine Shop, meaning I glued it first, then the cleats every 3 inches. Haven't closed it yet. Okay. Yeah, well, you're fine. I don't think it'll hurt anything, but I would make sure your cleats are as small as you can make them. I'd thin them out real thin and all that, you know. Empress Jones says free, and I'm using the free one. Michael Force says free version works for me on Grok. Yeah, that's all I've used so far, and I haven't even seen an ad, not even one, on trying to sell me the paid version. But I mean, I'm not opposed to paying for it. I mean, if something came up, I'd probably pay for it because it's that good. If you ask me, it's that good. Well, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for being here. We will see you tomorrow with something else.